thanks for watching Luke Walks today. I'm at Sala Daeng and I'm starting with a cup of coffee at a cool little place called Everyday. So today I'm going to be exploring, this is Thaton area, and in particular Patpong. I've heard a lot about Patpong, so this whole episode is called the Patpong Probe. So stick with me and let's probe Patpong together. So I've just been studying up. It seems to be that Sala Daeng is very close to the Legend, which is a condominium infamous because of Charles Sobhraj. So I'm going to explore that. Also heard about a Patpong museum, so that's on the card. There used to be a very lively market around this area, but it's also world renowned for its nightlife and night entertainment. So I need to check that out as well. Now, I just read in the Bangkok Post that Sala Daeng Soi 1 is one of the most hip and happening neighbourhoods around. So I might wander down there and see if I can find a nice cup of coffee or a cake or something like that, a little snack down there, because I want to be in with the in crowd. So that seems to be the place to go. Anyway, I'll finish my coffee. And don't forget, love is love. Discovered about my short time living here in Thailand is that if you've got a PA system, you need to turn it up maximum. So also it's Thailand, in Bangkok in particular, pubs and restaurants don't seem to have any trouble at having competing music. So you'll have two bars side by side and the music is just maximum, and you've got two sources of sound that's confusing your brain. But even so, the street performers take on the same approach. We've got two street performers here, and they're about 10 meters apart, playing completely different songs with their microphones at maximum. It makes it sound like it's just a horrible mess. I'm adamant. That's one thing that really grinds my gears, when there's two sources of music. Just can't stand it. So above me is Sala Daeng. Oops, thought I walked in wet paint. Above me is Sala Daeng BTS station. Now the reason it's called Sala Daeng, as I discovered in the last video, which is all about the Chulalongkorn area, the Chulalongkorn Temple and King Rama IV Road and the Rama VI statue, I discovered that this is called Sala Daeng because back in the good old days along Rama IV Road, there was actually a railway line built by the Paknam Railway organisation, company, whatever they're called, and they used to have a station at the end, and it was indeed red. So the Thai word for red is Daeng. So Sala is like a building, a building with a roof over the top. So it was like the red station. So Sala Daeng, that's where the name came from. Anyway, I'm now at Soi 1, so I'm looking for a coffee shop. I'm also looking for the Legend, the place where the Bikini Killer, Charles Sobhraj, committed many atrocities, and it is just down this road here. So this is a really cool little street here, so if you're looking for a cup of coffee or a croissant or some popular bubble tea, there's so many of these really small little shops here selling things. So it's a nice little Soi here. I recommend a wander. So in 2020, one of the most popular shows on Netflix was called The Serpent, and The Serpent is all about is a TV series all based on the events of Charles Sobhraj, who was known as the Bikini Killer. Now this TV series was set in the 70s, and Charles Sobhraj was famous for, or infamous for, seducing or swindling travellers, backpackers who were kind of hippies on the banana pancake trail, and swindling them out of their fortunes. But sadly, he would also murder them and steal their passports, and also commit forgery and travel around using their passports as well. So he committed a lot of terrible crimes, Charles Sobhraj, and he's still alive today. He's in prison, fortunately. But the place where he moved, when he moved to Bangkok, he moved not far from Patpong, not far from here, into a condominium, and he used to meet backpackers and invite them back, and then poison them, and then ultimately kill them, and then somehow dispose of their bodies. So the place where that happened is just up ahead, I think. So I'm just on the lookout for it. It's now called, sadly, it's called The Legend. So they've knocked down the old condominium and they've built a new one, and they called it The Legend. Strange naming. So I have found The Legend. Now I'm just going to find a quiet spot where I can sit and tell you a little bit about Charles Sobhraj and this place called The Legend. Now it is actually on the corner of Sala Daeng Soi and Sala Daeng Soi 1, which is also known as Soi Gotcha. Now this apparently is the most hip place in all of Bangkok. So I might find myself a little quiet spot to talk, but also should be able to find a nice little coffee somewhere as well. So I found a coffee shop just opposite The Legend, and I'm studying up about the life of Charles Sobhraj, but also The Legend itself. Now The Legend is a 14-story condominium, and I was just looking up, the penthouse suite sold for over 55 million baht. You can also get 1 or 2 or 3 bedroom apartments here, but it's a pretty expensive place. It looks pretty flash. Anyway, I'm not here for a condo tour, although I know they are very popular on YouTube. I'm not doing a condo tour of The Legend. I'm here stopping to talk about the life and times of Charles Sobhraj. So the TV series, the Netflix TV series, The Serpent, as you see, it traces the life of Charles Sobhraj and his murders and his partners in crime. It's actually a very good TV series. I'd recommend it. The thing that I liked most about it was recreating life in the 70s in Bangkok. So it helped my imagination kind of think about what life might have been like back then. But anyway, the majority of the film was actually filmed here in Thailand, even though Charles Sobhraj wasn't entirely based in Thailand. So places like Bangkok and Ayutthaya were used for different scenes, for different parts in the film. And they even used the beachside town of Hua Hin and recreated it and made it look like Goa in India, because that's where Charles Sobhraj once was also. Anyway, this is the location where he lived when he was alive, and it used to be called Cannet House, and he used to live in room 504 in Cannet House, which was right there. So Cannet House was demolished in the 90s, and then The Legend was built in its place. Now, coincidentally, the filming for a lot of the scenes in the series Serpent was based around Cannet House and the poolside area. Now that was actually filmed in a place not too far from here called Ban Belawin. It's on Sukhumvit Soi 4. So if you're really curious, you can actually look over the fence and have a look at the actual scene, or where the series was actually filmed. And in fact, I have a mate who was one of the extras, and he appeared in episode 4. So keep an eye out for my mate Ned. So Cannet House was only about 200 meters from Patpong. Now Patpong is quite a famous nighttime entertainment area where kind of anything goes. It was made popular from the soldiers who were fighting in the Vietnam War. they started to come here to Thailand for their R&R, and Patpong became one of the places, one of the strips where they used to come. Now, when the Vietnam War ended, a lot of the war veterans actually remained, so their legacy lingered on and on for a long time. So kind of it was the hotbed of iniquity there. That's where you used to go in Patpong to have all your desires and dreams come true. So this is where Charles Sobhraj used to frequent quite often. He used to go to a place called the Mississippi Queen. Mississippi Queen was one of his regular spots. So Charles Sobhraj, it's been said that he has killed at least 20 backpackers, and 14 of them, 14 of these murders were committed here in Thailand. Now, he got the nickname Serpent because of his snake-like characteristics and how he managed to escape so many times, whether it's through the forgeries of passports or he actually indeed escaped prison. That is how he got this nickname, the Serpent. He's been described as handsome, charming, and utterly without scruple. So he used to woo his victims and build and garner their trust. And then when their defences were down, that's when he used to spike their drinks and poison them, and indeed murder them and take their money and their passports, and then dispose of the bodies. In 1973, Charles Sobhraj was captured and imprisoned after a failed jewellery shop robbery. So the robbery went wrong. So he was jailed for the first time in India. However, he was able to escape because he faked some illness, and when he was being transferred, he managed to sneak away. Now, this was not the first time. He was also recaptured, so he went on the run for a while, but then was recaptured. But he managed to, and it read here, Sobhraj escaped the same way he had the first time, by faking illness and drugging the hospital guards. He was indeed a slippery serpent, this guy. So when Sobhraj was recaptured again, interestingly, he got legal representation from a guy named Jacques Verger, and he had the nickname of the Devil's Advocate. And how he got this nickname was because he represented infamous clients such as Klaus Barbie, the Nazi, Slobodan Milosevic, and he also represented the international terrorist Carlos the Jackal. So as you've probably gathered from this story, he actually was captured and convicted, and he's actually serving time in Kathmandu in Nepal. But he's due for release in 2027, and in 2027 he'll be 83 years old. So that's actually not too far away. He had his sentence extended recently because he was involved in a some kind of a hit. He had a hitman. He had organised some kind of a hit, and he was involved in that. So he had his jail time extended. But many people in the online community are most curious and have lots of interesting theories about what may happen in 2027 when he is actually released. Now, on another note, when I was originally researching this place, I thought, oh, this is kind of quite interesting. It was a good TV series. It was engaging. I'll go and check out The Legend. However, since then, I've also watched the Netflix series about Jeffrey Dahmer. And initially, it was just the horrific crimes, but the TV series shifts focus towards the victims. And it's actually made me think a lot more about this. So I'm not here, I just want to make it known, I'm not here to glorify the crimes of Charles Sobhraj. In fact, if there was some way, I would actually be out of respect to think about the victims and honour the victims. It's kind of a well-known fact in the media when horrific crimes are kind of represented, or even suicides, that there tends to be, it seems to be a way of glorifying. But I want to make it known that in no way means, no way do I want to glorify the crimes of Charles Sobhraj, but rather make it a kind of a tale. When I was watching it, in fact, I was thinking about I was in the shoes of some of his victims, thinking, my, it could have been easy to fall for some of his tricks, being like a gullible traveller, like back in the 70s as well, when you didn't have the availability of information that we have now, didn't have things like Google Maps or the internet, so you had to actually rely on the generosity of other travelers. So if another traveler, you know, as I was a backpacker and I've done many years backpacking, when you ask somebody for advice and they say, oh yeah, you should go to this nightclub, or you should go to this bar, or stay in this hostel, or why don't you come and stay at my place, I've got a spare bed. You've got to be extra careful. You know, it takes a lot of skill to be able to discern whether somebody is actually a swindler, or they're actually a genuine person who wants to be your friend. So it's tread with caution was what I learned through watching this. Anyway, I've had enough talking and thinking about Charles Sobhraj. I'll open up Google Maps, and what next? I am going to... I want to go to the red light Patpong district. Now, this is post-pandemic time, so it's actually Patpong is a very different kind of a place than it used to be back in the 90s, the noughties. So I'm going to have a bit of a look at it now. I am actually here in the daytime, so Patpong district, and there's actually a night market here. Of course, the best time to look at all these things is the night. Anyway, I'm going to go have a bit of a look around and see what it looks like in the 2020s after the pandemic. Sitting here enjoying my coffee, thinking about the Serpent, and then a big lizard creeps into view.